Good morning. How is everybody doing? I hope all is well. I know we're all tired of this quarantine. Real quick, I want to go over our rules for integers. For adding and subtracting, you can remember the song I taught y'all in class. What we're going to do is same signs, you add and keep. What that means is whether it's negatives or positives, is they're the same. You just add the number and keep the sign. So here I have -4 plus -6, same signs. I add 4 plus 6, which is 10, and I keep the negative. Here, two positives. Same sign, it's going to be positive. 4 plus 6 is 10. Over here it says -4 minus 6, but if you remember our rule, we're adding the opposite. So you keep change. -4 plus -6. So now, negative and negative, so it's going to be negative, and I add them, which is 10, -10. When I have different signs, you're going to subtract. You keep the sign of the larger number, and then you'll be exact. -4 plus 6. I have a negative and a positive. They're different signs, so I subtract. 6 minus 4 gives me 2. And I keep the sign of the larger number. 6 is larger than 4. 6 is positive, so my answer is positive 2. I have 4 plus -6. Again, different signs. I have a positive and a negative. So I subtract. 6 minus 4 is 2. Keep the sign of the larger number. 6 is larger than 4, so my answer is -2. Remember that subtraction is the opposite. You're going to keep change. -4 minus 6 equals -4 plus -6, which gives me -10 because they're the same sign. So the opposite of positive 6 is -6. Here I have -4 minus -6. Opposite of -6 is positive 6, so I have -4 plus 6 equals positive 2. I have some examples for you if you have your notes, but real quick, I'm going to do a couple of examples just to walk you through to make sure we're all on the same page. Let me get a pen. Sorry, guys. So my first example is 16 minus -2. This is telling me to do the opposite of this. The opposite of -2 is positive 2. So now turns into 16 plus 2 equals -18. If you remember the trick we learned in class, when I have two negatives, it makes a big plus. So 16 plus 2. The next one I have is -11 minus 5. So I have a -11, and I'm going to do the opposite of positive 5, which is -5. So I can plus negative. Now I have the same sign, so I'm going to add and keep the sign. Okay, one more. I have -12 plus 2. I have a negative and a positive. They're different signs, so I subtract. Keep the sign of the larger number. 12 is larger than 2, so it's -10. And that is all there is to it for adding and subtracting. So now let's go to multiplying and dividing. To multiply and divide integers, we use our tic-tac-toe. You draw your tic-tac-toe, you place your positives on your angle, and fill everything else in with negatives. So when I go here, a positive times a negative is a negative. Negative times a positive is a negative. Negative times a negative is a positive. Guys, this works anyway, just like tic-tac-toe. Positive, positive, positive. Negative, positive, negative. negative, negative, positive. So any way you look at this tic-tac-toe, find what you have. If I have a positive and I'm multiplying by a negative, my answer will always be negative. So here's some examples for multiplication. Positive, negative equals negative. So positive 9 times negative 3 gives me negative 27. Negative times a positive equals negative. Negative 9 times positive 3 gives me negative 27. Negative times a negative equals a positive. So negative 9 times negative 3 is positive 27. Here's division. Positive divided by a negative equals a negative. 27 divided by negative 3 gives me negative 9. Negative divided by positive is negative. Negative 27 divided by 3 gives me negative 9. Negative divided by a negative gives me a positive. Negative 27 divided by negative 3 gives me positive 9. Again, if you have your notes, here's examples down here, but let's work a couple just to make sure again that we are all on the same page. So if I have a negative 2 times a negative 3, if you want to draw your tic-tac-toe, just to make sure you're doing everything you're supposed to, I have a negative and a negative, so I'm going to come over here. Negative, negative is positive. I'm just going to put a little positive, and 2 times 3 is 6. Okay. So next, I have negative 24 divided by 8. Have a negative and a positive. Here's a negative, here's a positive, so my answer is negative. And 24 divided by 8 is 3. And that is it on multiplying and dividing integers, adding and subtracting integers. Those are our rules. And I hope to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.